Time once again to do that thing where we take someone else's recipe and give it a little tweak. Today it's a French toast stuffed with banana and maple syrup. So yeah, this is French toast, but this is not eggy bread. This is made with brioche and butter and cream and maple syrup and sugar. This is going to be a really indulgent and sweet dessert. This recipe describes it as a brunch, but I'm not sure I'd want something as sweet as this for brunch. But anyway, as a nice indulgent dessert, I think this is going to be good. It's actually my friend Babatunde in Nigeria who chose this recipe, so this video is a collab with him. Take a look at this video, or the link in the video description, to see his take on this. I think he's going to try and localize it a little bit for what's available in Nigeria, and also maybe give it a little bit of a Nigerian flavour twist. That'll be interesting. For my variation, I'm actually going to use some of this. This is Bramley apple strudel mincemeat. This was another post-Christmas bargain. Paid 30p for this jar. Mincemeat is like a preparation of dried fruits and sugar, and it's cooked down. This is mince pie filling, basically. It used to contain meat. That's why it's called mincemeat. Traditionally, this would have had meat in it. Over the years, the meat content dropped down to nothing, and it's now a kind of fruity mixture that you put in pies. It's still got suet in it, so instead of just the banana filling, I'm going to be using bananas and mincemeat. I think that'll be nice. I'm only going to make half of this because it serves 4, and I only really want 2 portions today. So to begin, the recipe says 2 large bananas. I'm using 1 small banana because I'm going to top it up with some of that mincemeat. This banana's got a little brown spot on there. Not even going to worry about that because it's all going to get mashed up and mixed. It's perfectly edible. Nothing wrong with that. So the banana, I'm just going to mash it with a fork just to break it up. You could do this in a food processor, or if you're doing a really large batch, I suppose you'd probably use a potato masher. That's the banana adequately mashed. It's surprising how much aroma that releases when you mash a banana like that. So this is the bit not in the recipe. I'm going to add about a tablespoonful of mincemeat in there. That's probably a little over a tablespoon measure, actually. The recipe calls for a tablespoon of maple syrup. I'm going to put in half a tablespoon of maple syrup, because I'm going halves. So we just need to mix that all together. And you can see actually now that mincemeat is mixed in with the bananas and maple syrup, you can see the raisins in there. That's one of the main ingredients. So we'll set that aside. Next, an egg, 25ml of milk, about that much, 25ml of double cream. Now double cream is the most fatty cream you can get in the UK, and it's the stuff that you can make butter out of very easily. So 25ml of cream in there, 25 grams of caster sugar. Now for most of the liquid ingredients here, I was just eyeballing those amounts. You can measure them obviously if you want to. And so what we've made here is really a kind of custard mix. And the recipe does say a little bit of vanilla extract, so that's going in as well. The recipe also says a teaspoon of cinnamon, so I'm putting about half a teaspoonful in. And a pinch of nutmeg. Now I'm going to use mace instead, just because I happen to have that and I really like mace. It's a very similar sort of flavour, just subtly different in an interesting way. Okay, so just whisk that all together to make the custard that we're going to soak our French toast in. And I'll set that aside too. Now here's where it could get a little bit tricky. We are to cut some 2-inch slices of brioche, that's 5 centimetres about, and then slit them open to make pockets to stuff them. Let's see how well that goes. So I'm just going to lose that crust there. And then, so 2-inch slices, that's about like that. But what we've got to do is kind of cut down into this bread to try to open up a pocket inside. You've got to be quite gentle because it's a fairly delicate bread, brioche, and it will tear ever so easily, so I'm kind of supporting the sides while I just open up that pocket inside there. Over here at the cooker, I'm going to put a big non-stick pan on a low heat, and we'll have a nice knob of butter in there. That must be about 15 to 20 grams of butter, I think. And as that butter's melting, I'm going to get the stuffing inside the bread here. So I'm going to be spooning this banana and mincemeat mixture inside, and pushing it right down inside as well. want about half of it in each one. And of course, if you don't like raisins or you don't like bananas or whatever, there's a lot of different things you could switch out here. You could put chocolate inside this bread and it would probably just melt. So that's all of the filling inside those 2 pieces of bread there, and I'm just gonna give it a little squish because that needs to kind of soak into the bread almost. Otherwise it's just gonna flop out when we get going. Right, now 30 seconds on each side in this mixture here. So, and then soak on the other side for 30 seconds. And this is where it's going to get super delicate now. And I'm also going to preheat my oven. Preheating the oven to 160, which is pretty much as low as my oven goes. Okay, these slices go very, very carefully into that pan of butter. And so that's just going to get fried on both sides in that butter. And that last little bit of mixture can just kind of deposit on top and hopefully it'll soak in. And plastic spatula, just going to give those a little shimmy around just to make sure they're not sticking. I'm not going to try and turn them more than once if I can help it because they'll just break up. Okay, let's see if we're safe to turn this now. Here we go. Nice. This one I think we'll leave a bit longer because it obviously did go in the pan after that one. But look at that. I can see a little bit of smoke coming off that butter. So I'm just going to turn it right down. And while those are just finishing frying, I've got a pan here, an oven-proof pan. I'm just going to give it a little bit of butter straight off the block. Heat off the pan, and these pieces of French toast are now going to go into this oven-proof tray. And we'll get those in the oven. And they go in the oven for about 5 or 6 minutes, just really to warm through. Okay, let's see what we got. Just sizzling a tiny little bit, which is good. Well, I think they look pretty good. Okay, so there they are. This is banana and mincemeat stuffed French toast. I'm just going to give them a little probe just to see what the internal temperature is like. That's nice. So they're completely warmed through. That means that the egg in the bread is going to be fully cooked, but the inside is not going to be fruity napalm. So that's good. That's all worked out fine. I've cooked enough here for me and Jenny. Jenny's a little bit busy at the moment, so I'm just going to take mine to the table and we'll get it served up. Okay, well, I actually think that looks pretty good. I'm surprised how much the filling stayed inside. Let's have a look and see what it's like inside. Lovely and soft and luscious. Look at that, sort of gooey, and the egg part is completely cooked, but the inside is nice and soft and steamy. It's good. Now I'm just going to have that with a nice big bit of Greek style yogurt. The recipe calls for yogurt. It's almost like they had a pang of conscience right at the end of the recipe and decided to try to have something a bit healthy. And it also says to drizzle over some more maple syrup, but I've got this, which is called hot honey. This is honey infused with chilies, and I think that's going to go just fine with this, so I'm going to put some hot honey over mine. Well, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so just going to dig in now and try a bit of this. So we've got gooey banana and mincemeat stuffing and the French toast on the outside. Let's give that a taste. That is so good. I'm really, really happy with the addition of the mincemeat. That's just makes this into something almost like festive. Mincemeat's obviously a Christmassy sort of thing anyway, but yeah, that's just a really lovely sort of winter dessert. Yeah, this hot honey really brings out the cinnamon and the nutmeg. Just brings out the spices. I think there were some spices in that mincemeat as well.
Wow. Very good.
We might need to go for a long walk to
I think we better.
to pay for that. Super happy with that, and don't forget that what you've seen me make in the video is half of what the recipe states. You will already have seen my captions about the amounts I've used, but the recipe that I'm linking to makes twice this amount. It makes four big generous slices. So I'm really happy with that recipe, and I'm really happy with the way I tweaked it. I'm interested to know what you would do to change this maybe. What else might you put in there instead of bananas, or with the bananas, or whatever? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, of course, to have a look at Babatunde's video over on Africa Every Day, linked in the video description and in the card. I really recommend this. It's a fantastic dessert. It's really, really indulgent, but you know, if you've earned it, then why not? Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.